Hi guys, welcome back to the channel, welcome back to the Retro Wrestling Room, welcome back to our new series where we look back at some of the very best matches of all time. We're going to look back at all the different matches that Dave Meltzer has rated 5 stars or above and see if we agree with him or not. As always, I'm joined today by my co-host and partner in crime, Vicky.
Hi guys.
And I'm your other host, Benj. So Vicky, how are you today?
Yeah, not too bad. All good. It's the weekend, so can't complain. Just waiting for the summer now.
How's your Disney Channel going?
Yeah, it's going good. Got some more content to film. Gonna start a new series on my top 5 rides at each park. So that's exciting. That'll be coming soon.
Have you been watching any wrestling recently?
Not too much, I'll be honest. I'm up to date with AEW. The last WWE I watched was the Rumble. Yeah, getting there with it.
What do you think of the Rumble?
The Women's Rumble was much better than the men's this year, but I thought the pacing of the event overall was really good. Because sometimes they go on like with the pre-show.
Yeah.
I mean, when we went, it was 8 hours.
Yeah, it was just way too long, wasn't it?
I thought the pacing was really good, and being in the UK, I love that it now finishes at like 3-4 a.m. rather than 6 a.m.
Yeah. So Vicky, I'll start off. Did you know who Dave Meltzer was before starting the series?
No.
No? Okay.
I didn't.
Okay, that's all folks. That's the end of the series. Thank you for watching.
And I'm done.
So right, here's a little introduction anyway. So just a little brief background. Dave Meltzer is an American journalist from New York. He's the publisher and editor of the Wrestling Observer newsletter. I think it was actually Jim Cornette who had brought up the idea of rating wrestling matches like film reviews, so giving them 5 stars like you used to see in like old magazines or books. So he would mark them out of 5. So out of the tens of thousands of matches that he's watched over the years, he's only actually given 179 matches a mark of 5 stars or more.
How can you give more than 5 stars out of 5?
Maybe we'll get to that one day. There are actually matches that have more than 5 stars. I know, I didn't make up the rules. So even though WWE is the biggest wrestling company in the world, how many matches do you think that they've had 5 stars or more?
Out of the 179 in total?
Yeah.
100?
13.
Okay, but this guy you said is friends with Jim Cornette?
Yep.
Over the last few years, he has lost his fucking mind.
Jim Cornette isn't a fan of WWE, so if they're on the same wavelength, that could be why.
Yeah. So does that surprise you at all?
Yes and no, it depends, because if it's indies as well, I think indies probably have stronger individual matches. There's a lot of people who have had better matches outside of WWE than they have in WWE.
Yeah.
So Daniel Bryan and AJ Styles, I think, have had better matches outside of WWE than they have inside WWE.
Yeah.
And I think there's quite a few, that was just the first one I thought of, that had better matches in the indies, and you think, oh, when they come to WWE, they'll be amazing, and then they have a match, and you're like, eh.
No, definitely.
The other one I'm thinking of, sorry to cut you off.
That's okay.
Was it Shinsuke and AJ Styles just before they left New Japan?
Yeah, Wrestle Kingdom.
Yeah, and it was amazing.
Yeah.
And then they came to WWE, and we were like, this is the worst match that I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, the match at WrestleMania just wasn't a patch on their Wrestle Kingdom match.
Unbreakable 3-way, man, with Samoa Joe, myself, and Christopher Daniels, I thought could definitely be the best match of the year, the best match in TNA history, the best match in wrestling history.
So the very first match we're going to look back on in this series is the one and only match in TNA's entire history that has got a 5-star match accolade. It's AJ Styles versus Samoa Joe versus Christopher Daniels for the TNA X Division title from Unbreakable 2005. Samoa Joe had actually received a 5-star match the previous year against CM Punk at Ring of Honor's Joe vs Punk 2 event, and would again receive another 5-star match less than a month later against the legend that is Kenta Kobashi in Ring of Honor. Hard to believe, but to this day it remains the only 5-star match that either AJ Styles or Christopher Daniels has ever received.
Can I stop you there and interrupt?
course
How
you can.
AJ Styles and Shinsuke wasn't a 5-star match?
I have no idea. To me, It's one of the best matches ever. It's one of my favourite matches of all time.
Yeah, same.
I don't know for certain, but I've got a feeling in my head it was something like 4.5 stars he gave it. It was close to 5 stars, I'm sure, but it didn't quite get 5 stars.
Nah, I'm not having it.
Does that surprise you that somebody like AJ Styles, who's known as like one of the best wrestlers in the world, has only ever had one match on this list?
Yeah, but then I don't know if I don't know how many of AJ Styles' matches he's watched. That's what I'm curious to know.
I think he would have watched them all.
Oh, okay, yeah.
He just watches everything.
Yeah, then I guess I would have expected more.
Yeah, me too. I thought he would have had loads on there.
Just a little bit of background knowledge, guys. I feel like I should add this in. I don't know the other matches that are on this list. Ben is giving me a different one to watch every week, and I'm watching it completely blind, so I have no backstory. I don't know what matches we've got coming up or who else is on the list. I just feel like I should add that caveat in.
Yeah, that's fine. So prior to Unbreakable, TNA held the 2005 TNA Super X Cup tournament to determine the number one contender to the TNA X Division Championship. The X Division title, being known as the belt that doesn't have any weight limits, it has no limits. The tournament involved 8 men, with Joe and Styles making it to the final round at TNA's previous pay-per-view, Sacrifice, on the 14th of August. Joe managed to defeat Styles after interference from Daniels to win a shot at the title. On the August the 19th episode of Impact, TNA commentator Mike Tenay announced that Daniels would defend the title against Joe at the event. Later on in the episode, Daniels assaulted Joe until Styles came out to attack Daniels over his interference in the bout at Sacrifice. Daniels then demanded that NWA Championship Committee member Larry Zbyszko suspend Styles. Instead, Zbyszko's added Styles to the encounter on the August 26th episode of Impact, making it a 3-way match for the TNA X Division Championship at the event. This match was also promoted as the X Division Dream Bout, as the top competitors in the division were being pitted against each other for the championship.
Now we're gonna see who's good enough to face Christopher Daniels.
How lofty are your dreams?
A timeless battle rages.
What are you willing to sacrifice in pursuit of destiny?
One not just of flesh and blood.
How high are you daring to fly?
Here it goes again! Unbelievable! One athletic ability and the crowd going crazy!
But of spirit and principalities.
How low will you stoop to embrace selfish desires?
The muscle buster, look out!
For we do not wrestle against flesh and blood,
The noble,
but against principalities.
the fallen.
It's the gospel according to the fallen angel. Who will step up?
Muscle buster! This is just me!
This thing is breathtaking, it's devastating, and he's got the...
Oh, man, that just tears me up every time I see it.
Who will be our shining light? Who will be TNA's saving grace? How does anybody even consider doing such a move?
You got to be kidding me!
Will it be the real definition of animal instinct, Monty Brown?
He loves to use moves in combination.
Somebody stop that! This guy is such a force!
Boy, was that stiff.
Oh, he needs some smelling salts right there. He doesn't even know where he's at.
The moral reprobate, Raven? Never seen anything like this in my life. Will it be the guitar-carrying trickster Jeff Jarrett, the man who holds that responsibility, who bears that burden, who carries that cross? That man is me, and me alone.
Holy cow! And he just slams right into the table! Samoa Joe goes right through! He's not holding back for a second! Christopher Daniels, he is a monster! Christopher Daniels! Christopher Daniels comes into the ring! And catches Joe in the back! With the X Division belt, he hits him again!
How am I supposed to be at my best if I'm always looking over my shoulder for AJ Styles? I can't keep him out. If you can't keep him out, let him in and see what happens. Let's make it a three-way dance. Now, more than ever, I am Mr. TNA. For my heart has 6 sides, and it beats eternally. TNA, TNA, TNA. I pose the question to our fair-haired golden boy, AJ Styles. Thanks to the irresistible Island Force, Samoa Joe. Do either of you actually believe in your heart of hearts that you are the man to curb my desire, my will, my spirit is unbreakable.
First of all, I think we showed that the X Division certainly is one of the main points, one of the top things about TNA. It was the first, in fact, it's the only time that the X Division Championship has been defended in the main event since we've been doing 3-hour pay-per-views.
Unbreakable 2005 took place on September the 11th, 2005 at the TNA Impact Zone in Orlando, Florida, in front of a rabid 775 fans. Before we go any further, when you're watching this match, Fit, did you know there was only 775 fans in the Impact Zone?
No, can't say I did.
How many would you think there was?
Thousands, it was so loud.
It is one of the loudest crowds ever, wasn't it? It was brilliant. But yeah, there was only 775 people there. This was billed as a dream bout by TNA as the very best of the division were battling it out for the title. You had Christopher Daniels, the reigning champion of the division, who was in the middle of a record-setting reign. You had AJ Styles, who had been the kingpin of the division and was going for a record 5-time winner. And then you had the monster Samoa Joe, who was on a tear in TNA and was currently undefeated. We were first introduced to the pre-match graphics by Mike Tenay, who runs down the X factors of the match, where he runs down the biggest factors of how the match came together. It's just brilliant. Like, it's such a simple idea, but it just really works. I don't know why more companies don't do that at the start of a match.
Yeah.
They just say why it's in favour of this guy or what this guy has to do to win the match. It's just, it makes it seem more real. It gives it that big fight feel. Samoa Joe is the first to come out to the ring, and Mike Tenay puts over how he is undefeated in TNA. When I was watching this, I thought he's in the best shape I've ever seen Samoa Joe in.
I thought that as well.
Did you?
Yeah, I thought he looked in good shape, and then I realised it was 2005.
Yeah. I mean, it's unfair to compare it to like 2020 or 2021, but he's still a big guy, but he just looks so good. AJ Styles comes out next, where Don West puts him over huge. I thought it was crazy how AJ Styles' entrance hasn't changed in 16 years. It's still exactly the same, but it hasn't dated at all.
But he does look so different with short hair, and he looks so young.
He did look really young in this match.
I think because I've only ever seen him with long hair and how he looks now.
Right.
He just looked completely different.
Yeah. But the way he like flips the hood, the way he throws his arms out at the ring ropes, it's exactly the same.
I really like the entrances. I like the smoke tunnel. It's just giving me Space Mountain vibes, like the old school Disneyland Paris Mission 2 advert. I'll find a link and I'll pop it in because it just reminds me of the advert that was on the VHSs when I was a kid.
It does look like Space Mountain. It's awesome. I've always loved the entrance. So after those two come out, we then have the fallen angel Christopher Daniels coming out to a song that sounds extremely like The Beautiful People by Marilyn Manson.
All the old school SmackDown feels here.
Yep, definitely. Jeremy Borash introduces the competitors. Now, I love Jeremy Borash, and when we met him at the expo years ago, he was really lovely, but what on earth is he wearing?
I don't know.
His suit was huge. He had a wide collared red shirt that's wide open, and then a really dodgy tan.
Always got a dodgy tan.
He did have a dodgy tan when we saw him as well, in fairness. It's just so bad. I know it's the main event, but as they're being introduced, it really does have that big match feel. The match starts with Christopher Daniels jaw-jacking to both Styles and Joe about them not being able to beat him, and it's his belt, to which they both just start beating him down and taking in turns to chop, punch, and then deliver horrible sounding kicks to the back.
The double kick does look painful.
Daniels then gets up and screams, "Stop kicking me!" and quickly gets kicked by the other two. So this is the moment where we got our first glimpse of the TNA towel guy who's going mad already, just waving his towel around. It's only 30 seconds into the match and the towel guy's going mental in the background.
I wonder what happened to that guy.
I don't know, I haven't seen him for years. I hope he's okay. AJ Styles goes for a quick roll-up on Joe, then an inside cradle, and thirdly, another roll-up, but Joe kicks out every time and manages to reverse the last pin into a quick submission before being broken up by the Fallen Angel. I will admit, this match is going to be very hard to call because it's so fast and relentless, but I will do my best. Daniels delivers a spinning back kick on Styles before being chopped and enziguri'd on the outside. Joe then delivers a massive kick on Styles in the corner, then sends him up into the air. He actually somehow flies up into the air. Daniels gets back into the ring and hits a perfect enziguri of his own on Joe, while at the same time hitting a bulldog on AJ Styles. Joe quickly gets up and chops Daniels off his feet in the corner. He tries to throw Styles into the corner, but Daniels moves out of the way and starts paying back Joe with some massive chops of his own. The chops sound absolutely horrid in this match.
I thought that. They just sound so painful.
The chops and the kicks. I don't know if it's the way they mic'd the ring or what it was, but everything just sounded so loud. While Daniels is in the corner, he goes for the enziguri bulldog combo again, but they have it scouted and Joe delivers a huge slam to the mat. Styles hits a tilt-a-whirl head scissors on Joe before delivering loud kicks to the chest again. Styles hits a signature forearm in the corner on Daniels, but when he tries it on Joe, he gets caught and belly-to-belly suplexed into the corner. It looks really dangerous, as if Styles is going to land on his head, but somehow they do make it actually safe. Joe then starts his face wash in the corner on Styles before getting intercepted while running the ropes. Daniels delivers a diving dropkick through the ropes while still holding on and hits a springboard moonsault to the outside. Amazing. The crowd explode into a TNA chant.
And he hits it on Samoa Joe.
Daniels, the split leg moonsault. You're right, crashing into Joe on the floor. Boy, are they appreciative. Here in the Impact Zone, listen to him chant TNA.
I will say, whilst they're going on to the outside of the ring, has anyone seen what it says on the side of the ring? It says Gretchen Wilson. I don't know what that is, but I immediately thought of Gretchen Wieners from Mean Girls, and now I can't unsee it.
I didn't even notice it.
So fetch.
Before the crowd can cool back down, AJ Styles hits a springboard to the outside. The crowd start a huge holy shit chant, and rightly so. This is actually the first part in the match where they show a replay. Having Don West and Mike Tenay on commentary is like having two Mauro Ronaldos on commentary.
Wow! Wow! And Ricochet lands on his feet! Mamma mia! Can you believe it, Nigel?
No one can!
What did you think of the commentary in this match?
I thought the commentary was really good. I thought it got you involved and it felt believable. It was more like fight commentary than it was wrestling commentary.
Yeah.
It didn't feel like it was scripted at all. It felt like they were genuinely reacting and it got you really involved.
So instead of telling the story, they were more just calling the match?
Yeah.
As if yeah, I know what you mean. Some people really don't like these two as commentators. They say they're too excited all the time. But I think because we came in and just watched this one match on its own, it really worked.
Yeah. I could see it being irritating though if it was a really dull match and they were just way too into it.
Yeah. So an 8-hour WrestleMania pay-per-view with these two going insane on the outside for 8 hours.
Yeah, that might be a bit much.
Styles rolls back in Joe and goes for a pin but only gets the 2 count. Styles then hits his picture-perfect leapfrog, drop down, drop kick sequence which only gathers a 2. Tenay wins me over by commentating how AJ's weight distribution was wrong when going for the pin, and that's maybe the reason why Joe managed to kick out.
I'm not sure that he had proper weight positioning on someone who's 280 pounds to get the pin and put him away. There you see the drop kick.
I'll tell you what, it's amazing too because you got Samoa Joe going forward.
It's these type of sports call that make me fall in love with this type of commentary.
Yeah.
The way that he said if he'd rolled him higher up on his shoulders and if his back was slightly in a different position, he may have got the win. I just think that's brilliant. It's just something that's really missing
Yeah, no, definitely. Because, I mean, everyone knows that wrestling is fake. Spoiler alert.
What?
Yeah, everyone knows that, like, wrestling is scripted. I don't think that the commentary needs to be scripted. I think that, although everybody knows that it's not a real fight, people want to believe it. So have the commentary to make you believe it.
Yeah. Yeah, as soon as the commentary takes you out of it, then the whole thing falls apart. If you believe in the commentary, then you'll believe in the match.
Yeah, definitely.
Daniels gets back into the ring and monkey flips Styles onto Joe, who turns it into a Hurricane Rana. You could see the crowd get onto their feet and start another TNA chant. Daniels backdrops Styles over the top rope, and the way it's shot, he just flies out of the frame and disappears.
Did he land on his face?
I think he might have. You just see him disappear. It's amazing. So Daniels tries to roll up Samoa Joe, who reverses it and turns it into a rear naked choke with both hooks in. Styles then climbs back onto the top and hits the spiral tap onto both of them. I haven't seen AJ Styles bust out the spiral tap for years and years now.
No.
This is where we see the guy who was dressed like Jeff Hardy in the front row. He doesn't quite pull off the look like Jeff Hardy does though.
10 out of 10 for effort.
There was a lot of effort in there. He had the greasy hair and the green face paint on. And I think he had those arm bandage stocking things on as well. What are they even called?
I don't know, but I definitely had it when I was a kid.
Nice. Good luck.
Yeah, I thought it was cool.
Styles rolls over to both men to try and pick up the win, but again only gets 2 counts. Daniel sets up the BME, but AJ pushes his legs out from him and sets him up in the Tree of Woe. The first gets booted by Styles and then hit with a running boot by Joe. It's quickly followed by a "This is awesome" chant, and just thoroughly deserved. This match is awesome.
I still can't get over how loud that crowd is.
It's a shame nowadays that the only crowds that are as loud as that are maybe the NXT crowds. Again, maybe it's because it is just a small arena.
Yeah, I think it feels louder when it's a smaller space because more people in the crowd are chanting, whereas when you've got like a massive arena, if not everybody's chanting, it's going to get lost, and you're going to get the fans that aren't going to be the ones that shout and chant, and
or you get the chants in different parts of the stadium at different times, so it's not like the whole arena all chanting the same thing at the same time.
Yeah, because I thought when we went to NXT, this is going back a couple of years ago now, in Cardiff, the chants in there were really loud, but again, that's one of the smallest venues they did on the WWE tour.
Yeah.
Because we just went to a local show and we saw it at the Motorpoint Arena in Cardiff, which is a lot smaller than, say, MEN Arena or the O2, which were other places on that same tour.
Joe then hits AJ with an inverted atomic drop kick, and is running senton. Don West screams that this is everything we wanted and more. Somehow, in a massive show of strength, Daniels picks up Joe for a Death Valley driver.
How did he pick him up?
I have no idea. Daniels doesn't look like the biggest guy of all time, so the fact that he just picked him up and it looked so effortless, and he managed to deliver a Death Valley driver on Joe, is just incredible. After seeing this move, it sets off a towel guy again, even though he does seem to be slowing down a little bit.
It's been an intense match for him. He's probably as tired as the wrestlers.
Daniels gets Styles to the outside and tries to land a dive onto him, but AJ has it scouted. He ducks and goes for an own moonsault off the apron, but Daniels dodges that as well, so they resort to just striking each other. Joe then comes from the other side of the ring and hits a corkscrew suicide dive over the top rope onto them both.
Samoa Joe can fly? That's a first.
It's just insane, like somebody that size just doing a corkscrew suicide dive.
Because he got some distance as well, didn't he?
Yeah, he got height and distance.
Whereas on last week's AEW, I can't remember the name, it was somebody I didn't know, he jumped from the top rope and it was awful. No distance, no height. It was as if I did it, as if he just kind of fell.
Yeah.
And you think Samoa Joe's like at least twice this guy's size.
At this moment, it garners another holy shit chant. Don West claims that we are seeing one of the greatest matches of any history of wrestling. Do you agree?
Yeah, I do, because I have no idea who's going to win at this point. I've like flipped between it, and usually I can call it, or I can think they're going to win this way, or I can just have some idea. But this was like any of them could win.
Which is, I think, it's even more impressive for a 3-way match.
Yeah.
Because there's usually one, you're like, okay, maybe one of those two could win, but that guy's definitely losing. I genuinely had no idea who was going to win this match. Joe gets the Fallen Angel back into the ring to deliver a muscle buster, but Daniels rakes the eyes. Styles meets Daniels on the ropes, and they both get chucked off the top by Joe in a Tower of Doom spot. At this point, it really feels like Joe is taking charge of the match, and he's probably the favourite to pick up the win at this point. Joe then hits the muscle buster on Styles, but at the same time on the outside, Daniels is grabbing the title belt. He goes to hit Joe with the belt, but turns it into a Randy Orton-esque snap body slam. Joe picks up the belt, but Daniels manages to kick it back into his face. There's a hilarious shot of a woman in the front row with her mouth wide open, and I don't know if she's either in amazement or mid-yawn.
I missed that bit, but it sounds incredible. I'm going to have to go back and watch it.
I'll make sure I splice it in for you. Try and work out what she's doing. Daniels hits AJ with a rock bottom or bookend type move, then hits the BME, the best moonsault ever, and fair play it is. It's just so crisp. I think it's a real shame that Christopher Daniels never had a run in WWE, because I know AJ Styles and Samoa Joe came, okay, they came maybe a bit later than people wanted them to come, but Christopher Daniels was just as good at this stage. He's just so crisp and so smooth with everything he does. Daniels picks up AJ and throws into the ropes, but reverses it into the back flip over into the reverse DDT for a 2 count. Daniels then hits a beautiful superplex off the top. Joe is back into the ring and lands a powerbomb on Daniels, then turns it straight into the STF. Styles hits the Pele on Joe, or as we say, the Heskey, or in this house we probably call it the Balotelli.
Probably.
Then he gets him up for a torture rack, which is probably the worst move of the match, because it isn't a patch on Lex Luger's version, to be honest. I always think to do a torture rack you have to be a big guy to put over this move, but there is a lovely slam out of it at the end which does kind of redeem it. Styles and Daniels start reversing each other's moves until AJ can hit the Styles Clash, but it's broken up at the last second by Joe. Joe misses a spear and crashes to the outside. Daniel goes for the Angel's Wings on Styles, but he reverses it into a back suplex and gets the 3 to become the 5-time X Division champion at 22 minutes 15 seconds.
I did really like the pin as well. He kind of looked like a crab. It was unusual.
Okay.
I've never seen that before. That's my input.
Nice. So your biggest input of the match is that you liked the pin at the end because he looked like a crab.
Yeah, and if you could slice in a picture of Krabby from Pokemon, that would be...
When we finally got in there in a 3-way, where we got not just Joe, not just AJ, but Christopher Daniels, all thinking of how this could be the best match in wrestling history. Well, that's the only thing it could be, and I think it was.
I think after the match, the world was well aware of what the 3 of us were willing to do to win a match, and definitely what we're willing to do to up the ante in the X Division.
That match is definitely what the X Division is all about, and I think it's definitely what TNA is about.
So Vic, that was the triple threat 3-way from Unbreakable 2005. Do you think this is deserved of a 5-star match?
Yes, it's one of the best matches I've seen, and to be honest, I thought they all deserved to win. I'm putting it out there.
They all deserve to win.
Yeah. No, usually...
like X Factor. They all deserve to win. They're all nice.
Not quite like that. But no, I thought that they all did really well, because sometimes you're watching wrestling and you think, why did they win? They didn't deserve that. But no, they all were really good. I couldn't call it up until the final pin.
No.
I just thought it was a really strong match, and I can get bored with wrestling matches. Like when they're really long, if nothing happens, I can get bored, but this I was hooked. So yeah, 5 stars from me.
Did you think it felt like 22 minutes, or did you feel like it was longer? Do you think it was shorter?
No, I'd say it felt like 20 minutes, because that's quite long for a match, like in general. But I'm glad it wasn't any longer. They could have done it for longer, and I think if it had been in WWE, it probably would have been 30 minutes plus, but it didn't need it. Right. I thought the pacing was really good.
No, I agree. I think it was the perfect length, because this is the type of match where there was no rest holds, there was no slowing down. Okay, it wasn't the biggest psychology match ever, There was no rest spots at all. It was just go, go, go. And I think that was the perfect pace and the perfect timing for that type of match. I think if it'd been a little bit shorter, it wouldn't have felt like a main event match. But I think if it'd gone a little bit longer, people would have started to get fatigued in the crowd. I do agree, it just seemed like the perfect length for this type of match. So even though this match is 16 years old now, do you think it stands up to today's standards?
Yeah, definitely.
So if this match was on NXT, say for example, do you still think it should deserve a 5-star match?
Yeah, if it was the same match, same wrestler, same level, 100%.
Yeah, I don't think this match has aged at all.
No, I wouldn't have known it was 2005 unless you told me.
Yeah.
I would have thought maybe it was 1 or 2 years old.
Yeah.
The only reason I would have thought it was 2005 was the noise of a crowd at TNA. Well, the noise of any crowd in 2021.
Fair point. Do you think this crowd made this match? Did it take it to that extra level?
Yeah, I definitely think that it helped. I think, because that's what brings me back to, you'll notice on this, I'll refer back to the Attitude Era a lot because that's my era. I think that the Attitude Era, if the crowd wasn't as loud behind it as it was, it wouldn't have felt the same. I think it makes a huge difference.
Because some of those matches in the Attitude Era, you go back now and they were terrible. They were just rubbish. And every match had interference. They were just rubbish.
Yeah.
But the crowds were what made it. They were just
sold it.
Yeah, they were just insane for the whole show back then.
And also the opposite with the Rumble a couple of years ago when Daniel Bryan didn't come out. The end of the Rumble was fine. There was nothing wrong with the match, but the fact that the crowd was dead just took you completely out of it.
And that's all you could count on then.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all you could hear. It's all you could think about.
And even though there's no crowds now, if that match was done now with no crowd, I think the way that the commentator sold it, you would still be behind it.
So yeah, even though it was 16 years old, a TNA match, I think it still deserves that 5-star rating.
100%.
What did you think of the 6-sided ring?
I'd completely forgotten that TNA had a 6-sided ring, and the more I watched it, the more I liked it. Again, I don't know if it's just because the commentators were calling it more like a proper fight, and then I was thinking along the UFC lines, and maybe it was that.
Like the octagon type shape.
Yeah. The fact that the commentators were calling it like a fight and the ring was more like an octagon. I know it was a hexagon before all the comments come saying you don't know the difference between a hexagon and an octagon, but a hexagon looks more like an octagon than it does than a square.
Good point, well made.
I feel like I have to say, I don't want people to be saying, it's not an octagon, it's a hexagon. I know.
So you got 6 sides, God's sake. Call yourself a wrestling fan? Oh. You think you know shapes?
Oh. Now they're going to start saying that we call it a ring and it's square.
Square ring.
Squared circle.
You get it. So that was our thoughts on TNA's only 5-star match in their history. What did you guys think of the match? Does it still hold up today for you? And are there any other TNA matches that you think should have reached that same accolade? Please, if you enjoyed the video, leave a like, hit the subscribe button, as it would really, really help out this channel. So it's a bye from Vicky.
Bye.
And it's a bye from me. Bye. And hopefully we'll see you guys for another installment soon.